Hey folks, how you doing? Today I want to share with you some tips on working with the off-canvas menu. That's the menu button, usually located up on the top of the page here, left or right, has the word menu on it. Click it, and it shows the what we call the off-canvas menu. Basically, it's a menu that sort of looks like it fades into the page. But what's really cool about this is it's a fantastic tool for mobile devices. Um, what happens in today's world of building websites, especially with super large pages, is navigation becomes an absolute nightmare for mobile users, especially if you have a lot of menu buttons, say, with a lot of drop downs. We do include that in the template if you want to use it. However, what we're including now is this off-canvas menu, so you can have a nice full page menu. You can have a contact section at the bottom like we have here. And for mobile users, it's just an absolute dream to navigate because it's so easy to scroll up and down. It's the nice large print, and it works with the Google mobility test very nicely because it's nice large font sizes and large click spaces. In other words, everything's not so crammed together that you hit two buttons at once. So let me just share some tips on how to update this. First of all, there's basically two types of links we have in here. We have this sort of category link, if you want to call it that, or a header link, and below that we have sublinks. So you could either have everything sort of categorized like we have here, where we have a larger link with smaller sublinks below it, or you could have everything in a large bold if you wanted to, or everything in a small. Let me just show you how that works. We'll just jump into Expression Web here, open up the library and the shared folder and the menu off canvas. Okay, now the way this is broken down, it's just simply a bullet list. For the sub links or the smaller ones, we've just indented them, and for the larger category links, they're just the regular bullet item, and we've just made it bold or strong. So really, changing this, or it's just like working with a regular bullet list, and you hyperlink the text, and then you can indent it or outdent it and bold it or not. So as an example of how to update the link or the hyperlink, I mean, I've got other tutorials on working with a hyperlink tool, but I just suggest you right click on the existing one, select hyperlink properties, and then you can go and link to your new page using the hyperlink properties tool, just like so. Same thing for changing the text. If you want to modify an existing link, hyperlink properties, change the name up here, new name, and click OK. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of sort of scrubbing over things like with your mouse and retyping them, only because if there's a tool that's there to do the job for you, it does a better job, and sometimes you knock things out of place, especially in Microsoft editors. When I say things out of place, like UL tags, LI tags, and other mysterious things that happen. Not every program is perfect, and certain bugs can be introduced when you do it like that. Now, if you want to remove the existing links, same thing. I mean, you can sort of scrub over if you want to and take your chances. When I remove links in a list, what I do is I just put my cursor and I go up to the quick tag selector, and I find the A tag, the LI tag, and then I hit delete on my keyboard, and I do the same for the next and the next and the next, and that's how I work. So that's how I suggest you remove the existing links to modify your own list. Now, if you want to create, say, if you wanted catalog to be a larger link, like the standard package, what you do is you would just use the indent tool. So we have the decrease or increase indent position tool up here. So just boom, knock that over, hit the bold, and now it's a main link like so. We'll just save that and show you the results. We'll go back here, I'll refresh the page and open it up, and there we go. Catalog is now a nice large link like so. Now, I did notice one goofy little thing that sort of really annoys me with some of the Microsoft editors is notice the change in the font right here versus this nice big buttony link with the hover effect and whatnot. Yeah, well, let me just show you what that is. I'll just take the double click on the word catalog here. I'm going to flip it over to the code view. And I don't know if you notice or ever do this, but I often check in the code, or pretty much all the time check in the code to see if there's any code errors. And this is where Microsoft is kind of weird. It's not a perfect editor. Is when I indented that list, it didn't do the indent correctly, although I used the tools right in the panel right here, right? What it did is it left this extra li tag over here. It should have removed that, but it didn't. Okay, so if you get into the situation where you see the font size all small and tiny like that, double click your element you just indented, flip over to code view, and if you are using an indented list where you have an item here, then items below it, right? If you have, for example, catalog, that's the indented item, and I'm going to pull it over here because it's way out of line, right? It should not have a closing li tag after it. As a matter of fact, we're going to delete that, and you'll see that the squiggly bit from the ul goes away. I'm going to save the page, go back to the thing. I'm going to refresh now, open it up, and now everything looks as it should. So there's a couple little quirks that you may have to work through if you're going to be doing this in the design view, because like I said earlier, if there's a tool there, it's great. It makes it a lot easier, and trust me, it is a lot easier than trying to indent and whatnot and create your own ul tags in code. Even that gives me a headache, and I do that for a living. But there are some little quirks when using the different tools in the design interface of some of the Microsoft programs that you'll need to have a handy workaround for, let's call it that. So anyways, basically in a nutshell, it's a bullet list, bolded if you want it as a category, sort of a larger thing. And keep in mind, when you do that, these larger ones have a different hover effect, okay? This just changes the font color, right? And sort of, you know, but these ones here actually changes the size and sort of has a background below it, right? And one of the reasons for that is to give it more of a distinguished or a difference, or make it stand out as a header versus an actual link. Because if we go back to our editor, right here, you can actually have this link to a page or not. If it's not going to link to a page, in the hyperlink properties, just change it to a pound sign. Okay, and that way it will it'll still look like a large bolded link or a heading, but it won't actually link or go anywhere. As for the form down at the bottom of the page, I have a separate tutorial on working with forms, so I'll run you through that. Everything else on the page here is just regular text, which you can change, or the form fields and the names right here you can change as a regular form. But I have a separate video that I'll be sharing on working with forms, which is going to go into a little bit more detail.